In theaters now from Columbia Pictures. Kind of cool to see the old Columbia Pictures logo still, even though they're owned by Sony. We have the third installment in the big screen adaptation of the 80s CBS TV series, The Equalizer. So if you can put those things together, you'll figure out the title. Equalizer 3. It was really, really good. Now, I really loved the first Equalizer movie. I love movies that are like the classic Clint Eastwood films where I always say, he walks into a place filled with bad guys. The bad guys know they're going to kill him immediately, but he knows that's not going to go the way they want it to go. And we as an audience know that. And it's fun watching this main character who is fully in control of his situation toy with the bad guys before he just takes them all out. So this film takes place after the first three. So we're going linearly here. Our Robert McCall, our hero, Denzel Washington, finds himself in a sleepy seaside Italian village, loves the people, becomes part of the community there, but unfortunately the mafia, but not like technical, not stereotypical mafia, organized crime, shall we say, bad guys have set upon this village and are pressing them hard against their will to do what the bad guys want to do. They're collecting protection money. They're doing little things. Oops, an accident happened, to make everybody stay in line and keep, feeding the beast and the beast's grand plans, which don't even really include the pleasure or presence of the people who currently live there. So it takes its time. It opens with a really big aftermath of a very large set piece sequence that I was so worried it was going to flash to a title that says 3 weeks earlier, and then you were going to have to that garbage, which I hate. Movie doesn't do that. It shows you the aftermath of something really bad that's happened. We realized that eventually that was the result of the Equalizer being present, and the film then moves on to the Equalizer living comfortably in this small village, as I said, and once he sees what's going on with the bad guys, he decides these people are too good. Again, in classic sort of Clint Eastwood style, he tells the bad guys, go away. If you don't go away, things are not going to go well for you. But I'm telling you right now, you have the choice to go away and not have that bad thing happen. And thankfully for us, the audience, who are bloodthirsty like me, the bad guys choose to not follow his suggestion. It's wonderful. It is extremely violent. There is gore in this film. There is, I said thinking about this, if you say you don't like horror movies and you like Equalizer 3, my friend, you like horror movies, because it's plays like a Jason killing half the time when he's doing his thing, but it's wonderful and it's wonderfully presented. Yes, there's CGI blood and a little of that, which I don't really like, but that's the reality of films these days. It is beautifully shot. I believe Naples and Sicily are predominantly where the film takes place. It's beautifully, gorgeously shot, and it takes its time. So it gives you, the aftermath of some nastiness up front to remind you this is what this guy's capable of. And then it tells its story and it develops the characters. And we have Dakota Fanning reuniting with Denzel Washington. She plays a CIA financial investigator who he tips off that something's going on in this town. So it's the usual cat and mouse of, the good guys trying to chase the bad guys, and the Equalizer slipping people some information here and there, staying in the shadows. And when the time comes to act, boy, does he act in grand scale. Another great thing about this movie, other than how great it looks, how good the action is, how great Denzel Washington is it's beautiful to look at. Like, it's really nicely shot. The action is comprehensible, which is nice too, but it's a really well shot film, and it really makes you want to be where it takes place. It makes you want to eat that food and smell that sea air and walk those cobblestone streets. And big screen experience. I saw this, I went to an AMC, so I saw it in Dolby, which is their big screen, their biggest non-IMAX screen and really good sound and picture. And it was just lush. It was gorgeous taking it in. This is really, every film's ultimate resting place is going to be on somebody's TV screen, but really the theater is the way to see these things with an audience who's going to hoot and holler or gasp along with you at exactly how insanely violent this film is. I really, really liked it. It was a good film. I really hope there are more. It could easily be the last one, but I kind of hope it's not. They take their time between these movies, and I see the amount of time that's spanned between the first one and this most recent one, and I'm kind of shocked it's been that long, but they're really, really good films. One thing I do want to point out, though, that is a little cinebeef I have. I don't know what it is, but in the last 20 years or so, the art of a photograph being shown has stumbled badly. Now, we can create characters out of whole cloth. We can make you believe a man can fly. We can make you believe dinosaurs still exist. We can reanimate dead actors in films. But somehow, when three characters need to be shown in a photo that takes place, in the past, nobody has Photoshop skills. There is a sequence where Dakota Fanning is shown with her parents in a photo, and it looks so fake. And the people she's in the photo with aren't in this movie, so I guess you kind of have to use Photoshop. But half the time in movies, I'm gonna step outside this movie, half the time in movies when this happens, it's with people who are in the cast. They are literally photos where they could have stepped outside the studio, taken a photo, gone to CVS and had it printed in an hour, and it would look like a real photo. And for some reason, the art department, whoever is behind it in films, and I'm not talking specifically about this movie, but this movie's guilty of it too, they look so fake, and it takes me out of the movie, and it makes me want to laugh because they're so laughably awful. I don't know how that happened. I mean, in the old days, they probably would have taken separate photos, literally cut them together, pasted them together, and it would have looked more convincing than the Photoshop jobs they do now. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Equalizer 3. I really, really liked it. Films in general aren't lasting long in theaters these days unless they're one of a couple tentpoles, so this probably won't be in theaters for a tremendously long time. Really go out and see this in the theater if you think you're interested in it. It's really, really good. I think it's better than the second one. It doesn't do what the second one did, which was it has our hero fighting the bad guy, if I recall, on the top of like a lighthouse in a hurricane as debris and buildings are flying around him, and it just gets over the top and silly. This doesn't do that. If anything, the way the bad guy is taken out in this movie is a little anticlimactic, but it is really nicely done. I like that it's done in a subtle way. I don't need the bad guy to be hung on a hook and pushed into a fire, though it worked great in Cobra. I don't need every Duel of the Titans at the end of a film to be these crazy slugfests on top of a moving train that's on fire with a werewolf. It's okay to be subtle. Equalizer 3 balances out the insanity of the over-the-top violence with the subtlety, with the quiet, very contained performance of Denzel Washington. It's really, really good. So in theaters now from Sony and Columbia Pictures is Equalizer 3.